Hello Books and Beyond subscribers, my name is Menna Van Praag. I've written a book called The Sisters Grimm, which I hope you've all been enjoying. I'm writing the sequel at the moment, which will be out next February, and then the third in the trilogy will be out the following year. It was inspired by my love of fairy tales and my desire to rewrite them as feminist inspired, with endings that would make women feel empowered. Hello Books and Beyond subscribers, this is what I'm currently reading right now. These are my current read shelves. This is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. Isn't it beautiful? I read everything she writes. I think she's an absolutely gorgeous writer. Her sentences are so lyrical. My favourite read of last year was Circe. Read it twice, listened to it on audiobook, bought it for virtually everyone I know. Can't recommend it highly enough. My other, probably most purchased book of all time is The Night Circus. I have many editions. Again, I buy it for everyone I know. I also loved last year The Binding. The Time Traveller's Wife is one of my favourite books. My two favourite genres are fantasy and historical fiction. So, tips and tricks for writing. If you want to write a novel, my advice is to write every single day, even if it's only 10 minutes, even if it's only 100 words. I find a word count incredibly helpful, and I find that writing every day means that at some point your story will take over and start writing itself. If you don't write every day, if you just write at weekends, it will take a lot longer to get into the story every time. Whereas if you write every day, your characters eventually will start talking to you and leading you down extraordinary paths, which is the best fun that writing can be. The Sisters Grimm was my first idea for a fantasy novel. I've written 5 or 6 magical realism books before, but this was my first true fantasy. And it was inspired by when my daughter was born, I started reading fairy tales to her, and then I started rewriting them in feminist ways. And I was walking through the streets of Cambridge in my beautiful city and seeing all of the enchanting gates, and I started thinking, well, what if you walked through those gates and you walked into somewhere else altogether? Which was inspired by my love of Narnia and the fact that I still look longingly at wardrobes and wish that they would take me through to Narnia. So the sort of characters that I love to write are characters that start off shy and self-effacing and full of self-doubt, and they end the story full of empowerment and self-realization and feeling that they can do anything they want in their lives. I can't say that I have a favourite character in the Sisters Grimm. You can see all the characters there. Scarlet, Goldie, Bee and Liana. I love them all for different reasons, and I love their elemental powers. I would love to have all those elemental powers. But I must admit that the one that was based most upon me, perhaps you can tell from the curly hair, was Goldie. If I was to write a book that wasn't fantasy, it would definitely be historical fiction. As you can see from my shelves, I'm a huge fan of historical fiction, perhaps because I studied history at university. So who knows, maybe I will write one day. Yes, occasionally I do base characters on people I know, and there is someone in the Sisters Grimm who is based on a real person, and no, they don't know about it, and they will never know about it.